What happens when the world talks about your body before it even learns your name? From a Ghanaian man who towers at 9 feet 6 inches.
Because of my height, I realized that this mattress is too small for me.
To a woman whose chest size once made her tumble downstairs, Africa is home to people with anatomy so extreme it borders on the unbelievable. Get ready to witness the 20 people with the largest body parts in Africa. Number 20. Sulamana Abdul Samed. Growing non-stop isn't a metaphor for Suleimana Abdul Samed. It's his life. He's literally towering over the rest of Ghana, and his height has pushed past tall into something unreal. Folks in the northern town of Gambaga call him Awuche, meaning let's go in Dagbani, probably because you need to move quickly to keep up with those massive strides. At last check, dude was measuring in at a jaw-dropping 9 feet 6 inches, and he might still be growing, like for real. Doctors believe Sulamana has gigantism, caused by a rare condition called pituitary gigantism, where the brain pumps out too much growth hormone. Thing is, this isn't just about size, it's about survival. He's dealing with a curved spine, swollen limbs, and constant pain, all while living in a small town that's barely equipped to handle something this rare. The first time health officials tried to measure him, they ran out of tape. Dead ass. They had to guess. Later, hospital staff were shook when they saw the real numbers. Despite the medical challenges and stares from strangers, Awuche is still chill. He's not just surviving, he's owning it. Number 19. Joyce Ado. Now let's talk about Joyce Ado, or as the internet affectionately and accurately calls her, Busty GH. She's not just a Ghanaian socialite, she's practically defying physics. Joyce has what you might call a generous upper body. We're talking about a chest so heavy-duty, it's got its own gravitational pull. In fact, in a recent interview with DJ Nyami on SVTV Africa, she dropped a truth bomb that had us blinking twice. Her boobs literally block her view when she wears a bra. Like, imagine walking around with 2 airbags strapped to your chest and then trying to do stairs. Spoiler alert, it didn't end well. Yep. She actually fell down a staircase because she couldn't see past the boob barricade. This wasn't just a whoops moment either. Homegirl landed in the hospital for weeks. Ouch. She even claims she sees more clearly without a bra. Wait, are bras the real enemy here? Should we be starting a petition? But jokes aside, Joyce wears her size and her scars with confidence. And in a world that always wants to shrink women down, that kind of boldness deserves a slow clap. Maybe from a safe distance. Number 18. Gabriel Mjane. Before the internet blew up with viral giants, Gabriel Mjane was already towering over the world. Literally. Standing at a jaw-dropping 8 feet 0.75 inches. He wasn't just Mozambique's tallest man, but once held the title of the tallest living person on Earth. Yeah, he was that dude. Born in 1944 in Mozambique, Gabriel's growth took off fast due to a rare condition called acromegaly, a disorder caused by excessive growth hormone. By the time he was a teen, it was clear he wasn't just tall, he was next level. But behind all that height was a story way deeper than just numbers. See, Gabriel's size didn't come with luxury. He faced major physical struggles, from chronic pain to serious mobility issues. Walking became a battle, and life in rural Africa didn't exactly come with the kind of medical care someone like him needed. Still, he made waves, performing with circuses, traveling across borders, and even landing a Guinness World Record in 1988. But life wasn't all spotlight and applause. His final years were tough. He took a tragic fall at home in 1990 and didn't make it. He was just 46, gone too soon, but never forgotten. Number 17. John Weru. When people talk about dedication, John Weru takes it to a whole different level, 10 fingers at a time. This Kenyan man holds the record for having the longest fingernails in Africa, and honestly, it's a wild sight to see. Growing his nails for over 25 years, John's claws now measure more than a foot long each.
Hoping to break the world records and get to the Guinness Book of Records from Changamwe.
Twisted, curved, and carefully maintained, these aren't just nails, they're his identity. And yeah, folks stare. Some even call it weird. But for John, it's about personal pride and proving that discipline can grow into something unforgettable. He doesn't use any special products, just pure commitment and a whole lot of caution. Everyday tasks, not so simple. Buttoning a shirt, shaking hands, even using a phone, all become a serious challenge. Yet, he doesn't flinch. His nails are his story. Others are just flat out confused. But John keeps it moving. He's been featured in interviews and local media, becoming a low-key legend not just for his nails, but for his refusal to cut back, literally and figuratively. Number 16. Brahim Takioullah. Think shopping for shoes is hard? Brahim Takioullah would call that cute. This Moroccan-born man holds the Guinness World Record for the largest feet on earth. And we're not talking clown shoes, we're talking massive. Each of Brahim's feet measures a mind-blowing 1 foot 3 inches long. That's a size 58 shoe in Europe. Good luck finding that at your local sneaker store. Dude literally had to get his footwear custom-made by orthopedic specialists. Yeah, it's that serious. But it's not just the feet. Brahim also stands at a staggering 8 feet 1 inch tall, making him one of the tallest living men in the world. His incredible size comes from acromegaly, a hormonal disorder caused by a tumor near his pituitary gland. It sent his body into growth overdrive, and his feet didn't stop stretching. Born in 1982, Brahim didn't even realize his body was changing until his teenage years. By the time he was 18, he was already towering over teachers and doctors alike. He eventually had surgery to stop the abnormal growth, but the size he reached? Permanent. Number 15. Manute Bol. When Manute Bol stepped onto an NBA court, people didn't just notice, they stared. At 7 feet 7 inches, he was one of the tallest players in league history and easily one of the most unforgettable. But what most folks don't know, his biggest impact wasn't even in basketball, it was back home in Sudan. Born into the Dinka tribe in 1962, Manute's height was something else. His limbs were freakishly long. His wingspan? 8 feet 6 inches. That's wild. He could block shots without even jumping. Coaches said it was like having a skyscraper guarding the paint. But Manute didn't come to the NBA just to be a sideshow, he came to make a difference. Off the court, his story turned even more powerful. As Sudan was torn apart by civil war, Manute became a voice for peace and a warrior for his people. He gave away millions of dollars, most of what he earned in his basketball career, to help victims of war and build schools, hospitals, and hope. The sacrifices he made were no joke. He reportedly went broke supporting his country. His health began to deteriorate, one issue after another. But even with everything stacked against him, he never gave up. Number 14. Mbalantu women. They didn't need fairy tales. The Mbalantu women of Namibia were Africa's real-life Rapunzels, with hair that didn't just flow, it touched the ground. For generations, these women were known for growing some of the longest natural hair ever recorded on the continent. But this wasn't just genetics or luck. It was ritual, patience, and tradition. Starting from a young age, Mbalantu girls underwent a sacred hair care process using a blend of natural oils, herbs, tree bark, and ground ochre. Over the years, their hair was woven into protective styles and extended with braided fibers, forming elegant floor-length locks that symbolized beauty, womanhood, and status. By the time a girl became a woman, her hair wasn't just long, it was a cultural crown. It was shaped and sculpted into elaborate styles during important life events like initiation ceremonies, weddings, and festivals. But as colonial influence and modern norms swept across Namibia, the tradition started fading. Today, only fragments remain, and what once stood as a symbol of pride is now mostly remembered through photographs and oral history. Number 13. Abiodun Adegoke. NBA players tower over most people, but next to Abiodun Adegoke, even they look small. At a jaw-dropping 7 feet 11 inches, the Nigerian phenom might be the tallest basketball prospect the world's ever seen. Nicknamed Big Niger, Abiodun's rise has been nothing short of jaw-dropping. Born in Nigeria, his insane height turned heads early on. And while most tall kids struggle with coordination, this guy moves like a pro, with surprising speed, solid footwork, and a shot-blocking reach that's just plain unfair. His exact height became a mystery, with reports ranging from 7 feet 9 inches to 7 feet 11 inches. Even scouts weren't sure what to believe. Regardless, when a guy this big hits the court and can still move like that, it's a whole different game. Even NBA legend Shaquille O'Neal took notice after a video of Abiodun dunking without jumping went viral. Shaq was hyped and the internet went wild. Suddenly, all eyes were on this quiet giant from Africa. But the road hasn't been smooth. Growing up in Nigeria, access to elite training, proper shoes, and healthcare wasn't always guaranteed. Still, Abiodun's out here grinding, chasing his NBA dream, not just to make it, but to inspire. Number 12. Ring Aiwel Khaman Maluach. Most teenage athletes dream of making it big. This one's already playing on a global stage. At just 17, he's competing in Olympic qualifiers, going head-to-head with seasoned pros and making his country proud. He's 7 feet 2 inches and still growing. Raised in the shadows of conflict in South Sudan, his early life wasn't about highlights or trophies. It was about survival. But even in the toughest conditions, his talent couldn't be ignored. Through the support of the NBA Academy Africa, he trained, focused up, and turned raw potential into something dead serious. When he stepped onto the court during the FIBA World Cup qualifiers, fans and scouts around the world took notice. The dude's got insane reach, fast feet, and the kind of game IQ you don't usually see in someone that young. But what really sets him apart? He plays with purpose. Number 11. Charles Saggley. He can't find shoes that fit, barely squeezes through doorways, and turns heads everywhere he goes. But Charles Saggley isn't chasing fame. He's just trying to live a normal life in a body that's anything but. Standing over 7 feet tall, Charles is known as the tallest man in Ghana's Volta region. But with that height comes a ton of challenges. His feet are so massive, regular shoes don't stand a chance. He literally walks barefoot because nothing fits. And that's not just uncomfortable, it's dangerous. His mother says she carried him for 10 full months before giving birth. And from the jump, everyone knew something was different. As he grew, he shot up fast and kept growing. But while his size is impressive, the struggle behind it is real. Finding clothes, furniture, or even basic transportation that works for him, it's been a lifelong hustle. Charles isn't asking for much. He's not out here begging for spotlight or trying to go viral. All he wants is proper medical attention and a pair of custom-made shoes so he can stop walking the streets unprotected, something most people take for granted. Get ready for today's mystic topic. What exactly are we looking at here? These two look like they've got satellite dishes on their shoulders. Are they picking up Wi-Fi signals or just rocking the biggest domes in Africa? Are we looking at a rare tribe or the result of nature getting wild with Photoshop? Either way, this ain't your average head-to-shoulders ratio. Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to mention hashtag Mystic Topic. Number 10. Suleiman Ali Nashnush. Not many people can say they were over 8 feet tall, played for a national basketball team, and appeared in a classic film. But Suleiman Ali Nashnush did it all. And somehow his story's barely been told. Born in 1943 in Tripoli, Libya, Suleiman had a pretty normal childhood until his teenage years hit. That's when his body started stretching way beyond average. Doctors later discovered a tumor affecting his pituitary gland, causing a rare condition called gigantism. The result? A final height of 8 feet 0.5 inches, making him one of the tallest people in recorded history. But Suleiman didn't shy away from life. He used his size to his advantage, dominating the court with Libya's national basketball team, and later stepping into the world of film, appearing in the 1960 Federico Fellini movie Satyricon. Still, the height came at a cost. He battled with pain, limited mobility, and struggled to get proper treatment. Eventually, he underwent surgery to stop the excessive growth, but by then, he had already left his mark. Despite living such a rare, standout life, his name barely gets mentioned today. He passed away in 1991, leaving behind a legacy that deserves more spotlight. Number 9. Hussein Bisad. He once held the title of the world's tallest man, but for Hussein Bisad, life has been anything but easy. Born in Somalia and standing at an unbelievable 7 feet 9 inches, his towering presence has drawn attention everywhere he goes. But behind that massive frame is an equally heavy story. Hussein lives with acromegaly, a rare disorder caused by a tumor affecting growth hormones. It didn't just make him tall, it made his hands some of the biggest ever recorded, measuring over 10 inches long.
Well, he's a big man. How tall are you, Hassan?
8.1 now.
8 foot 1 inch, huh?
Yeah.
I use the translate again. 8 foot 1 inch, huh?
Yeah.
And yeah, that might sound impressive, but the truth, it's been a daily battle. After fleeing civil war in Somalia, he sought asylum in the UK, hoping for a safer life. What he got instead was a whole new set of challenges: health issues, loneliness, and limited mobility. Now in his 40s, Hussein is living in a care home, needing full-time support just to get by. But even through the pain and isolation, he's still got heart. In a recent public appeal, he spoke out, not for himself, but for other vulnerable people in the system. He's calling for compassion, for dignity, for humanity. His body is record-breaking, but it's his voice and spirit that speak volumes. Number 8. Munir Fourar. At a towering 8 feet 2 inches, Munir Fourar was once dubbed the tallest man in Africa and the second tallest in the world. But behind that record-breaking height was a life full of pain, isolation, and a constant fight for dignity. Born in Batna, Algeria, Munir didn't start out unusually tall. But by the age of 12, everything changed. A rare pituitary gland condition triggered gigantism, and his body began growing at an uncontrollable pace. His frame stretched rapidly, and while people stared in awe, Munir was quietly suffering. Simple things, walking, eating, even sleeping, became difficult. The healthcare he needed, nearly impossible to access in his hometown. And while the world was fascinated by his size, very few saw the struggles he lived with every day. Despite the pain, he kept his spirit alive. He tried to live with purpose, to be more than just the tall guy. But in 2012, Munir passed away in silence, his massive heart giving out after years of battling health complications. Number 7. Tutsi. In the heart of Central Africa lives a people whose height has stunned researchers, travelers, and historians for decades. The Tutsi of Rwanda and Burundi aren't just culturally rich, they're known as the tallest tribe in Africa, and quite possibly the world. With average male heights reaching over 6 feet 1 inch, and many women nearly matching that, the Tutsi have long been recognized for their long limbs, lean builds, and striking features. But this isn't just some coincidence. Studies suggest a unique mix of genetics, high-altitude living, and traditional diets may all play a role in their exceptional stature. But height is just part of the story. The Tutsi have a deep, complex history. Once cattle herders with royal lineage, they held powerful positions for generations. However, this same visibility made them targets during times of political unrest, most tragically during the Rwandan genocide of 1994, where hundreds of thousands of Tutsi were killed in one of history's darkest chapters. Still, they've endured. Today, the Tutsi people are rebuilding their communities, preserving their traditions, and continuing to stand, both figuratively and literally, head and shoulders above the rest. Number 6. Dinka. The Dinka people of South Sudan are widely known as the tallest ethnic group in Africa, and possibly the world. With average male heights pushing 6 feet 4 inches, some Dinka men even reach well beyond 7 feet without ever stepping into a gym or a basketball court. But it's not just the height that makes them stand out, it's the presence. Long limbs, lean builds, and proud postures, the Dinka have a regal aura that commands attention. Scientists point to genetics, high-protein diets rich in milk and cattle products, and life on the open plains as reasons for their extraordinary growth. Still, this tribe's story runs much deeper than physical stature. For generations, the Dinka have been cattle herders, warriors, and spiritual leaders, deeply connected to their land, culture, and ancestors. Their towering figures have also made them a symbol of pride and unity in a nation torn by decades of conflict. From refugee camps to Olympic arenas, Dinka youth are now stepping onto global stages, carrying the legacy of their people with every stride. Number 5. Maasai people. Known for their bold red shukas, fierce warrior spirit, and statuesque figures, the Maasai people of Kenya and northern Tanzania aren't just cultural icons, they're also among the tallest ethnic groups in Africa. With average male heights around 6 feet 3 inches, and many reaching even higher, the Maasai don't just walk tall, they live tall. But this isn't just about genetics. The Maasai are cattle herders by tradition, and their diet, rich in milk, meat, and sometimes even cow blood, fuels their lean, powerful physiques. Their active lifestyle, from herding to ceremonial dances that involve gravity-defying jumps, keeps them strong and agile well into old age. Their presence is commanding, their posture upright and proud. And when they leap into the air during the Adumu jumping dance, it's not just a show, it's a ritual of strength, courage, and pride. Despite pressures from modernization and land disputes, the Maasai have held tight to their identity. Number 4. Afeez Agoro. Standing out in a crowd? Afeez Agoro didn't just stand out, he towered. Known as the tallest man in Nigeria, this Lagos-born legend reached a height of 7 feet 4 inches, and every inch of him had a story to tell. Thing is, Afeez wasn't always tall. He was just like any other kid until his late teens. Then suddenly his body exploded in size. Doctors later diagnosed him with acromegaly, a rare condition that causes abnormal growth due to excess hormones.
Stood at 7 feet 4 inches had reportedly been ill due to reported battle with chronic hip arthritis.
And from that point on, life flipped upside down. Forget tight airplane seats or cramped buses. Afeez couldn't even fit through doorways without ducking. Buying clothes, a mission. Shoes, custom made only. But beyond the physical challenges, it was the stares, whispers, and social isolation that really hit hard. Still, Afeez didn't fold. He used his height to build a platform, not just online, but in real life too. He appeared in Nollywood films, modeled, and even starred in a reality show titled I Am Agoro, where he opened up about the highs and heavy lows of living in a world not built for giants. He once said, "Being tall isn't always a blessing. It comes with burdens people don't see." And that hits deep. Afeez passed away in 2023, but his presence, still larger than life. Number 3. Francisco Domingo Joaquim. Forget what you've seen in circus acts or viral clips. Francisco Domingo Joaquim from Angola holds the official Guinness World Record for the widest mouth in the world. And we're not talking a little stretch. His jaw can open a shocking 6.69 inches wide. That's wide enough to fit an entire soda can sideways. With room to spare, born in the town of Sambizanga, Francisco discovered his jaw-dropping ability as a teen. Word started spreading fast. Local crowds gathered to watch him pull off the unthinkable, stretching his lips beyond logic. Soon he was performing on international stages, leaving audiences straight up speechless. But this isn't just about party tricks. His incredible facial flexibility is completely natural. No surgery, no enhancement, just pure one-of-a-kind anatomy. Doctors and scientists have even studied him, trying to understand how his jaw muscles and skin elasticity break all the normal rules. In 2010, Guinness World Records crowned him the champ, and overnight, Francisco went from neighborhood curiosity to global sensation. But through it all, he stayed humble, just a regular guy with an unreal gift. Number 2. Asha Zulu Mandela. She doesn't wear a crown, she grows one. Meet Asha Zulu Mandela, the woman with the longest dreadlocks in the world, a title she's held for over a decade. Her locks, they stretch over 110 feet long. Yeah, longer than a city bus. Born in Trinidad and Tobago and later moving to the US, Asha's journey started as a spiritual one. She began locking her hair over 40 years ago, not for fame, but as a deep personal transformation. What started as a commitment turned into a living legacy that the world couldn't ignore, but it hasn't been all glam. Her hair weighs over 25 pounds when dry, and even more when wet. Doctors have warned her that the weight could strain her spine, but Asha refuses to cut it. To her, the dreadlocks are more than hair. They're her source of strength, identity, and healing. Over the years, she's developed her own natural hair care routine, avoiding chemicals and leaning into ancestral practices. And despite being called everything from extreme to obsessed, she stays grounded in her roots, literally. She once said, "My hair is part of who I am. Cutting it would be like cutting off my spirit." And with that kind of energy, Number 1. Nuer people. Tucked deep within the Nile Valley, the Nuer people of South Sudan are not only known for their fierce independence and rich cultural traditions, they're also recognized as one of the tallest ethnic groups in Africa, with many Nuer men stretching over 6 feet tall. Traditionally pastoralists, the Nuer live for their cattle. Milk isn't just food, it's sacred. Their diet, full of dairy and natural proteins, mixed with powerful genetics, is believed to fuel their remarkable height. But what really sets them apart is how they've preserved their identity through generations of chaos. The Nuer have endured civil wars, displacement, and political division, yet they remain rooted in their customs. Even through the harshest conditions, they've never let go of who they are.